sexy?
You're nothing but a rubber shit.
Hello YouTube! Today I'm gonna review Rubber. And I first watched Rubber about 3 years ago, and I recently rewatched it as a part of a weird movie night I had with my friends. And so now I'm gonna review it, having a refresher of it. There's many movies I would like to rewatch and review when I have the time. And so, Rubber. Well, this is the movie where right from off the bat, you know it's going to be weird. I mean, it's a movie about a tire that kills people. It's a slasher movie, with the tire being the slasher, which is quite ironic since people usually slash tires. Uh-huh. Yeah, so right off the bat, that's already weird, but then the movie adds in this meta concept of an on screen audience watching the events unfold as if it were a movie. And but it's a movie where you actually have to sit out in the desert and look for binoculars trying to find this tire as it's roaming around, and you're waiting for days and they didn't have any food, which goes into a whole other plot. And before I get into that, I just want to say I think I enjoyed this movie a lot more the first time than I did the second time. And I don't know, I feel like the second time it was more boring for me, and I didn't realize how long there were shots of the tire. But despite that, it actually went by pretty quickly. It was over before I even realized it. And my friends were saying the same thing. It's already done, and they didn't believe that was 1 hour and 22 minutes. So it had that strange kind of effect. Oh, that's kind of strange effect in that respect. And I'm not wearing underpants. No, I am. I'm not wearing pants. I'm wearing underpants. And so I never know how to really approach these reviews. If I should approach them as if assuming that the viewer already watched the movie, or assuming that they didn't watch the movie. I'm gonna assume that you watched the movie and you're watching a review right now, and so there will be spoilers ahead. So for the people who don't want to be spoiled, um, here's my little recommendation kind of review. I would recommend this movie. It's definitely not for everyone, and I don't know who you are to recommend it to. It's a hit and miss, and there was one miss in my weird movie night where I held it. The rest seemed to be relatively hits that liked the movie, and I can almost count myself as a miss because I didn't enjoy it watching the second time, but I did enjoy it watching the first time. But all I'm saying is that it doesn't have that much of a rewatchability. So in all in all, it's a pretty good movie. It's pretty witty. It's pretty original. It's definitely original, even though it borrows heavily from 80s slasher movie cliches. So yeah, go watch it now, and then continue watching this video. So now you guys who already watched the movie, I when I first watched this movie, I couldn't really tell if the director was really pretentious, or after watching three other of his films, actually almost all of his films except his two before Rubber uh, experiments, I guess you can say. I haven't watched those yet. I can probably say that I think the reason why I felt that this director was pretentious was because of that no reason monologue at the beginning of the movie, which in itself is pretty pretentious, and almost it seems my one of my friends who did not end up liking the movie said that whole monologue was there just as an excuse for the movie being shitty, and that's what I kind of thought the first time too, even though I did enjoy the movie the first time. But in retrospect, and considering the rest of Quientin Dupiex, whatever his name is, uh, uh, repertoire, especially his latest film, Reality, which I really enjoyed, I'm gonna say that he wasn't really being pretentious in that scene, but he was making fun of pretentiousness in films, and how people kind of defend some art films in this kind of pretentious way, or yeah. And that monologue is definitely right. A lot of things happen in life for no reason, and my thoughts are scattered all over the floor. I just need to gather them up. And I always see lots of criticism on things where an event seems to just happen for no apparent reason, and sometimes these events could be deus ex machinas, uh, where it just kind of happens to move the plot around. And I heard it said once that from some author, I think, but I don't remember who, that he doesn't have a problem with deus ex machinas because they happen in real life, and that is pretty much true. I would say that shit happens, but when you're watching a movie, if it doesn't flow in a logical kind of way, and you kind of get this, it takes you out of the movie and puts you back into real life when something just totally random out of the blue happens for no reason, and I think that's really what this movie is trying to do with this no reason thing. And a movie that reminds me of actually is Funny Games, which in which a character pauses the movie and rewinds it so that event doesn't happen anymore in the movie, and the hero, and there's no saving the good guys, and the bad guys get to win. And I think what was really clever about that is that it pretty much deconstructed everything about how a movie should be. The characters, the good guys should win. That's like the basic stuff, and lots of it's almost the norm now to defy that, where the good guy wins. There's lots of anti-heroes now. Anti-hero is the big craze, actually, and that's the easy thing. But they actually let the characters address the audience, which also has been done before, but manipulate the events while addressing the audience, picking up a remote control and rewinding it, and that's just deconstructed how a movie should be. It should flow in a certain way. You should relax and just watch it. And people do not like that because they just want to be entertained by a movie. They don't want to think about real life, and that's what I think the no reason really means. But does this movie exactly accomplish that in the way that Funny Games did? I'm not really sure, but it does get you invested in the journey of a Tyre, and the Tyre, by the way, is one of the best actors in the film. You can totally tell like its expressions and how it's feeling if you like watch the way the treads on the tire move and its body language. And I can't believe I'm talking about a tire this way, but there's lots of characterization into this tire that just wants to kill everything in its path, and you're really not sure what's real, what's not. Um, the audience could interact in the movie. The tire could actually hurt an audience member at the end. He blows up his head. So what's actually going back and forth here? Another audience member finds a dead rabbit that the tire killed, but it's fake. They can't eat it. And one of the funny things about this movie is that you never really know what's supposed to be the movie, what's supposed to be real inside the movie, and the director really likes to play around with that a lot, especially where the scene where the person who plays the cop, who gives the no reason speech, is trying to convince the other actors that's a movie when they think it's real life, and yeah, and I think the funniest punchline of this film is that this guy brought all these people out to this desert to watch this film that he's starring in and seems to be producing or directing, this cop character, and he poisons them all for no explainable reason other than the fact that he's too lazy to memorize the rest of the script. And I wonder what that's supposed to say about movie making and these Hollywood movies, which bring in an audience but don't necessarily leave with the audience, if you catch my meaning. And so yeah, a very enjoyable movie, a very weird movie. It's a pleasure to watch. It's not necessarily a pleasure to rewatch. There's lots of long scenes of just the tire, and scored by Quientin Dupiex, or whatever his name's is, music, making some scenes seem like a very extended music video for promoting his compositions. But yeah, I enjoyed it the first time, and a lot of my friends enjoyed it, and it gives you a lot to think about, and it's really not something I can't recommend. It's just a good movie, and yeah, a great double feature would be Rubber and Reality, and I should really watch Reality. They both kind of share the meta aspect. They're both kind of about movies, but whereas Rubber is about the more Hollywood flashy side of making movies, and it's also about the audience and what the audience is perceiving in the movie and how that's supposed to affect the audience. And reality is more about, it's also about that, the more mainstream Hollywood films, so it's also about art films, and it's more about making the movie rather than watching the movie. Even though in Rubber there is that degree of making the movie, but in reality you stick more with the director character than the actual audience, and who actually becomes one of the audience too. That's another thing about reality. Really should rewatch reality and give a review on that. But anyways, there's Rubber. I'm sorry if I seem like I'm rambling in this review because I am. Goodbye. And another thing, the guy who kills the turkey in the hotel room. What was he doing with his shoes on his hand? It's one of the least weird parts of the movie, all considering, but it's also the most baffling and unexplained. And another thing, the scene where they're trying to goad the tire out and blow it up is one of the best scenes in the movie, and was definitely a pleasure to watch both the first time and second time. So I just load a bit. And that okay.
Mr. Hughes?
Oh God, the kid was right. The killer is a tire.